What's up, sports fans? Welcome to this week's edition of EBC Sports International. Here's what we have in store. Back-to-back NHL coverage from Vancouver against the Vegas Golden Knights and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Florida puts on the blast of Baltimore and remains undefeated in Major Arena Soccer League. Boston Celtics come out on top of Toronto Raptors in division rival, and we'll talk about the experiments and benefits from the NBA G League. Hello everyone, I'm Rod De La Paz coming to you from New Jersey. Welcome to another episode of EBC Sports International. After a tough loss to the Montreal Canadiens, the Vancouver Canucks came home from a rematch against the Vegas Golden Knights, followed by the season's final matchup against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Here's Anthony Sevilla with the back-to-back action.
Chris Tanev scored the game-winning goal in overtime to secure the 5-4 win for the Vancouver Canucks over the Vegas Golden Knights. Vancouver avenged their most recent loss on the road to the Golden Knights with the win tonight here at Rogers Arena.
Markstrom had a huge 35-save performance, while Patterson earned the first star of the game with his 2 goals against Vegas. Vancouver avenged their most recent loss on the road to the Golden Knights with the win at Rogers Arena. Vancouver took a 3-1 lead coming out of the first period, but Vegas scored the only 2 goals in the second to tie up the game. The last moments of the third, the Canucks would be up 4-3, but Vegas would capitalize on the 4-on-4 opportunity and force the game into overtime and completely shifted the momentum in favor of the Golden Knights. However, Vancouver got the miracle goal from Chris Tanev to claim the 5-4 win, marking it the 3rd straight overtime win at home for the Canucks.
Yeah, they took it to us Sunday really badly. It was not what we wanted at all. And I mean, they're a very good team. So like I said, it's huge to get a win against a team that, they're going to be there right at the end of the season. So it's good to get the win. Yeah, obviously it was a back and forth game. So they brought it to us for a little bit of it. In the second especially, they felt like they controlled the play a bit, but Markey was awesome again, and he made some big saves going down the stretch.
It was a fun game to play, back and forth. Some, not fighting, but a lot of emotion between the teams. It's a divisional game, so fun game to play and a fun game for the fans as well. Yeah, for sure. I'm really happy for him. He's such a good guy, and I'm really happy that he scored the game-winning goal. Yeah, Markey was another great game from him. He always keeps us in the game. He made a huge save when they just tied it, and I think the shift after they had another good chance. But he was there in the way, and they made a huge save for us.
Mark Stone scored the goal for Vegas to force the game into overtime. The Golden Knights assistant captain showed his frustration in the loss, however was opportunistic about his team's success heading forward.
I've liked the way we've played. I liked a lot of the things we did tonight. There's a couple breakdowns, but I like a lot of the things we did. When we get in on the cycle, when we synchronize with our defense, teams have fits with us. We roll 4 lines out the door and we start cycling, we start manhandling teams below. We got some size, we got some skill, and we got speed. So if we play like that, we're going to win more hockey games than we're going to lose.
Head coach for Vegas, Gerard Gallant, gave credit to the Canucks goaltender and showed disappointment in the team's loss.
You got to give him credit. He made some key saves, especially that one on Stastny with a minute and a half left on our power play there in the third period. So that was a big save for him, and big win for them. But we're a little disappointed we only got to 1 point.
The Canucks' win over the Golden Knights tied up the season series 1-1. The 2 teams will battle in the 3rd game of this head-to-head battle in Las Vegas. However, the 2 division rivals won't face off again until March of the new year.
The Vancouver Canucks won their 2nd straight home game, defeating the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-1 at Rogers Arena. Patterson, Besser, Virtanen, and JT Miller all scored for Vancouver, while Jake Guentzel scored the lone goal for Pittsburgh.
The Penguins ended their 4-game winning streak after their loss to the Canucks. They struggled heavily in the first to generate offense. It was the first time since 2002 they were unable to record a shot in an entire period. It also marked only the 5th time in Canucks history that they held an opponent shotless in a period. The Penguins also had trouble staying out of the penalty box early on. 3 Pittsburgh players were penalized back-to-back in the first, which resulted in a 2-0 lead after 20 minutes.
Like I said, it is what it is, and I thought we got a little bit unlucky there in the first period with some of those calls, and I mean that's a tough situation to be in, taking all those penalties. But we did our best and we tried to battle through it. But if we had a better first period, I think we would have had a better chance. Good shooters, probably for the most part. They got threats all over the ice, and when you got so many threats, it's you can't just pay attention to one guy. So obviously that makes it tough to defend for sure.
I think anytime that happens, I think especially early in the game, I think it takes a lot out of you. But I think at the end of the day, I think our team responded well. We just didn't put the puck in the net as much as we could have. We took the penalties tonight, and we haven't before, and I think they cost us tonight, and I think we just got to learn that lesson.
I thought we had obviously a really good first period there, and they made obviously a strong push in the second, but I thought we regrouped and had a really good third period and kind of took everything away from them. So it was a huge 2 points for us tonight, and now we got to get another 2 next game.
Elias, Patterson, and JT Miller also continued to shine for Vancouver. Both Miller and Patterson notched a goal and an assist in the win. Miller shared the similarities between his former team and this young Canucks team, while Patterson explained the impact that JT Miller had on himself and to the team.
Yeah, I learned a lot, especially in Tampa. Obviously, that's one of the most elite power plays in the league, and I learned a lot being on there and how they react to teams' penalty kills and how they move it past team players. And I see a lot of similarities on this unit, just a lot younger. And there's a lot of nights we're working on really good and don't get any goals, and it's frustrating. But tonight was a good example in that 5-on-3. You could definitely tell we wanted to score there, and we finally did, and it was taken away, so it kind of sucks. But we're learning as the season goes on. I think that we want to be consistent, work hard, and we're finding a way to get it on both units right now, which is huge.
He has a lot of experience. He saying and teaching me small stuff to play smarter with the puck and all that. So he's been really good for me to be able to talk with someone to learn. We feel comfortable playing with each other. Brock and JT are skilled guys, so it's easy to play with them, and we always want to work hard and create a lot.
Pittsburgh looked to bounce back after the holiday break as they continued to wait for All-Star and team captain Sidney Crosby to return from injury. Vancouver will look to keep their momentum heading forward as they continue to fight for the last wildcard spot in the Western Conference.
From Rogers Arena in Vancouver, Anthony Sevilla, Eagle News, always one with 25.
Thanks, Anthony. Another sport that is gaining traction is the fast-paced, action-packed Major Arena Soccer League. The Florida Tropics looked to remain undefeated as they took on conference foe Baltimore Blast. Florida Bureau's Shane Quaz takes us to the action.
Riding on a 4-game winning streak to open up the Major Arena League soccer season, the Florida Tropics look to stay hot. In just their second home game of the season, the Tropics hosted the 10-time MASL champion, the Baltimore Blast. Though no strangers to winning, the Blast looked nothing like the championship caliber team they were in the past. The offense struggled putting pressure on the Tropics in the first half, only notching in one goal which came in the second quarter to tie the game 1-1. Lucio Gonzaga, who recently joined the Tropics, scored a goal to send the Tropics with a 2-1 lead into halftime. In the second half, the Tropics went full throttle and scored 5 unanswered goals, courtesy of Lucius Teixeira, Ricardo Carvalho, and Gordy Gerson. The Tropics showed great poise with stout defense and high-pressured offense, ultimately sealing the game with 2 late goals in the fourth quarter by Gonzaga and Gerson, each with 2 goals for the game. After the game, Victor Pereira, who scored the first goal of the game, credited the team's off-season moves and chemistry in lieu of their success.
I think the off-season signings were on point. We got some on fire on top, going forward. We have guys going forward and scoring goals. That's amazing. Passing, and we're clicking. That's the most important thing. We're finding each other.
Despite their winning record, Pereira still believes that they could get better.
I think we still have a lot of room to improve. We're in a good path. and we're still going. We still have more to show.
The 7-2 rout of the Blast was the Tropics' most dominant performance of the season. Looking to remain undefeated next week, the Tropics face the Milwaukee Wave, whom they defeated in an overtime thriller earlier this season. For Eagle News and EBC Sports International, this is Shane Quas, always one with 25.
Thank you, Shane. When we come back, we head to Toronto for a recap of the Celtics-Raptors game and updates from the NBA's G League. Welcome back to this edition of EBC Sports International. I'm Rod De La Paz, broadcasting from New Jersey. Thanks for tuning in. In a matchup of two of the NBA's best defensive teams, the Toronto Raptors hosted the Boston Celtics. Zarita Sese takes us to Scotiabank Arena with a recap.
On December 25th, the Toronto Raptors took on their division rivals, the Boston Celtics. They met on a day where the whole league watched to take notes on who might come out of the East.
The Raptors were coming off a tough overtime loss to the Indiana Pacers just days prior, whereas the Celtics were coming into the game with fresh legs. With key players still out due to injury, the Raptors' depth needed to shine once again to overcome the Celtics. The NBA champions started the game off strong by taking an early 10-point lead, but the gaps in their current rosters slowly unveiled as the game went on. The Celtics took advantage of the lack of size for the Raptors as Marc Gasol continues to be sidelined, leaving Serge Ibaka and Chris Boucher to fill in for the big man. Gasol's presence down low was definitely missed as the Celtics dominated on the glass, out-rebounding the Raptors 55-39. In addition to the struggles in the post, the Raptors' offense continues to suffer with the likes of Pascal Siakam and Norman Powell out. The Raptors have been limited in their source of consistent offense, but the value of a player like Fred VanVleet continues to be evident. VanVleet led his team with 27 points on 52.3% shooting from the field, but VanVleet was not able to do it on his own. Canada's Chris Boucher did his best to get his team going as he matched his career high, 24 points on 7 for 10 shooting, but that too wasn't enough to overcome the determined Celtics team. With holes in the current lineup, opposing teams are able to capitalize on both ends of the court. Celtics' young core of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown took full advantage as they combined for a total of 41 points. When asked about the cause of the team's current slump, head coach of the Toronto Raptors, Nick Nurse, listed a couple of factors.
We're pretty short on our roster, right? We have played a lot of minutes, these guys, in a lot of games in a lot of days. The schedule hasn't been very good to us, right? Third game in 4 days. One was an overtime game. One was a 30-point behind game where we used a lot of energy too. So I don't know. Maybe it's just need a little rest. We're going to get some the rest of today and tomorrow, even the next day after that. Believe it or not, so our schedule slows down a little bit.
With the 118-102 loss against the Celtics, the Raptors fall further behind in the Eastern Conference standing. With the trade deadline looming, many around the league are wondering if Masai Ujiri and his staff will be making significant changes to this lineup in order to defend their title. From the Scotiabank Arena, I'm Zarita Sese, Eagle News, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Zarita. In an effort to continually develop players, the NBA's G League held its second winter showcase in Las Vegas, Nevada. Here's Aljamain Santos with the details.
The Mandalay Bay Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada hosts the NBA G League Winter Showcase for the second consecutive year. The scouting event is held in a tournament-style format and as a testing ground for many experienced to enhance the game of basketball in the NBA. All 28 teams participate based on their season record and determine their seeding for the 4-day tournament. Each team is awarded a number of showcase points based on performance, and one experimental rule currently being tested in the NBA G League, wherein a player will shoot one free throw for a foul committed on a shot. If the player makes a single free throw, they are awarded all the points it would have made, either 2 or 3. In addition to experimental changes for the NBA, talent scouts are able to evaluate players and other personnel based on their performance in a competitive environment much like a postseason game. This allows players and staff to learn under pressure, make real-time game decisions, and earn a position in today's NBA. When you want to become the best, the path to reaching it may not always be ideal or what we may have expected for ourselves. The NBA G League is designed to provide a platform for players' development in order to achieve success in the league, and this event's new format will be able to deliver just that. From Las Vegas, Nevada at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center, I am Aljamain Santos, always one with 25.
Thanks, Aljamain. That's all we have for this edition of EBC Sports International. Be sure to join us for the next episode. Make sure to visit our website at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenewsph. Thanks for watching. I'm Rod De La Paz, one with 25.